from within my web page, you can go right to any of these clicks and click on them and get to the next one. Facebook also allows additional feedback. That doesn't actually take you to the YouTube site, but it opens a screen right in Facebook. Facebook's a pretty cool tool. If you haven't done that, I would highly recommend it, because you will find so many of your constituents are on Facebook. It's unbelievable. I only did this within the last 2 months. I don't even know if it's a full 2 months, and I'm up to over 300 friends on Facebook. And you catch on real quick. And again, when I do this, the video goes on and it goes on to your wall, and they can click on it and this little screen opens up and they can watch it right there. So it's just amazing how it works. And again, they can comment there. Those comments are stored separately from the ones on YouTube, however. The media came in and they were taking pictures and everything. They just thought it was quite fascinating. And so this is their coverage of the West Nile virus issue and the spraying, etc., that was going on within our county. Likewise, this was the Daily News, the other one was the Patriot News, and they did a whole article on it as well, and this one happened to be on prayer. I had suggested, I read something actually on the CCAP, you know how you go back and forth with, is it Yahoo Mail or something? We have that mail server thing that you go back and forth. What's it called? Litz. Thank you. Yeah, and I read it. They said, who does prayers before the meetings? And I'm like, oh my word, here we are, the breadbasket and the Bible Belt of America, and we aren't doing prayers before our meetings. And I was a little bit embarrassed, so I just innocently brought up, well, that blew up. So anyhow, that was one of the more viewed things. So the challenges and benefits of video. Do I get grief for posting my videos because I'm not county sanctioned? And I have to ask you, does the media cover your meetings? The answer is probably yes. And is it a public meeting that's advertised? The answer is yes. And they probably have their little cassette recorders going and everything else. So everybody else was taping what was going on except the commissioners. So now, again, I have my own archive of recorded meetings. And no one has given me a hard time about it because they know, I guess constitutionally, it's my right to tape them as much as anybody else's. So if the majority of your board does not approve videotaping of meetings, you can do it yourself. I just have that little tape, little recorder sitting right in front of me on my desk, and people just ignore it after a while, and you just, you turn it off and on with the click of a little push of a button, and it's really not intrusive, it just happens. What I try and remember to do is set my ego aside. Because if I'm taking the pictures, obviously I'm not in the video. But that's okay, because accuracy to me is more important than having my picture posted on the web or YouTube. So again, what we do is think about what is important to the public. So that's how I got to this point. So tips on videotaping and policy considerations. I would recommend that if you have staff taping it or you're doing it yourself, you want to use a tripod, because if you don't, you get this going on, okay? It's very bouncy, and a tripod is just a very inexpensive, that's a little $10 one, and it sits still and it's not moving around, and you get a much better quality video. Another thing that I would recommend is, it's nice to pan the whole room to see who's there, but then whoever's talking, if you slowly focus in on them and get their facial expressions, because a lot of what you see, you heard the speaker this morning, a lot of what's important to people is not what's said, but how it's said. Because somebody can say something on the Joe license, if you would watch that to the end, you would see what is said and how it's said. I mean, it's very powerful, because people do get emotional, and sometimes that comes across on the tapes, and sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's not. But if you do have to edit a clip, she said about taking segments, if you do have to edit it, try and be fair, because it's your reputation on the line if you're not fair to everybody. People are going to know. They'll know if you cut out some pretty spicy stuff to make yourself look good. For the most effectiveness, I would say post within 24 hours. Within that time, it's news. After that, it's not. And I can also say that I've had media come to me and say, Joellen, thank you for posting those clips because I missed this, and I was able to watch that and bring myself up to snuff to make sure I had my news report accurate. So I actually have newspaper reporters referring to the website and the news clips. I've also noticed that there are times when it could be someone attending the meeting makes an inappropriate comment, whether it's sexual or about a family member, medical history with HIPAA and everything. I shut the tape off. I don't take that. So you have to use your own self as a barometer in those kinds of instances. And I often think that if it's interesting to me, and I'm an average person, and I like to think I'm average, that then it's probably interesting to other people. So if I'm kind of lost and bored, or it's over my head, how many people are you going to reach? Is it worth your time to tape it? But I also think you can have a lot of fun with it, because sometimes the media will ask a question. So I turn the camera on the media, and they get to see themselves on the YouTube and whatever. They actually are very flattered, because you know what? They're people, and they don't get a lot of praise. So if they see themselves, without saying a lot, it's a form of flattery to them. And sometimes I just snap pictures and give them a copy, because they very short clip of this was actually at Campbelltown. It was not at our commissioners meeting. But when I go to the community now, the people up front doing the emceeing, they'll say, "Did Commissioner Litz bring along the camera?" Because now they look forward to the video clips that I post online from their location. And this one, it's very loud, you really can't hear it anyhow. But that bell, it was their 250th anniversary, and it was on the U.S. Constitution, a ship that went down, fell apart. There's a new one that was built, and this is our sister Campbelltown in Scotland, I think it was. And they brought it over, the U.S. British Navy sent two guys to bring it over. And so the town was thrilled that their bell was on the video. And you can see there's 92 views from a little tiny community called Campbelltown. That's not even the whole county. That down here in the bottom, you can see it'll tell you the number of views. And if I scroll down here, you can see where here I could click and put MySpace, Facebook, and Twitter, and that's how I would link to it. Am I out of time? One more minute, okay. Well then I'll quickly go to look at it. Farm preservation is a very hot issue. Teleconferencing is a hot issue. So all those things are in there as the top ones. And again, we take a leadership role and ask you to look at those things. And the last thing I will show you is on my homepage. Twitter gives you the ability to, here they can follow what clips are up there, or any comments you would make as well. But from my homepage, you can click on any of the tapes that I posted. And on the other side that didn't come up is a site called Ning. Also something really cool, if you have still pictures, you can post those in Ning and it'll play a slideshow. So that's pretty neat too, so that's different than a video. And thank you.
Thank you, Joellen.